I'm so tired of people running around trying to be goddamn opinion police. Bitch, we didn't like it. And what? Do something. And you know, the Super Bowl halftime show. Whose decision was that to put Bad Bunny's ass up there? Oh my God. Listen.
It was your boy.
It's your boy. I know, right? Listen.
It's the Rock.
Man, it didn't go how he thought it was going to go. You know what I'm saying? And there's some people who legitimately like the performance, and that's cool. But a lot of people didn't, and they were not shy about it. And, you know, it kind of turned into this cultural war thing. It was weird, you know, like, and black people looking kind of crazy because, you know, people out here talking about how we hate them and, you know, we don't respect their culture. And it's like, what? What are you talking about? You know, and we got into this very weird space. Nobody has to like Bad Bunny or his music or his performance or none of that shit. Me not liking that doesn't mean that I don't respect Latinos or Latino culture, but a lot of that shit was going on. So I want to talk about that. I'm going to show this one meme, and then I'm going to show this video where this Sambo is just talking goofy. So I want, and this is what's very interesting. Most of the people that had a problem with it were not Latinos. It was black folks. I say black in quotes, black in air quotes. Black folks got a problem with black folks not liking a show. This is what we're doing. Check this out. First, this meme, this drove me crazy. I had to repost it. I wasn't wishing Bad Bunny was speaking English. I was wishing I could speak Spanish. Funny how your brain works when you're not a racist bigot. So this bird brain, I had to repost it on my page. And I lit her ass up in her comments too. According to this bird brain, if you simply wish that the performer who performed at the Super Bowl in the United States of America at the halftime show for an American sport in a country where the predominant language is English, if you wish that he spoke English or was speaking English so that you could understand him, according to this bird brain, that means that you're a racist bigot. I swear, like the stupidity here cannot be understated. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we talking about? When we get to that point where people can't have opinions, you know, people have to feel the way that you feel. People comment on your post attacking you for your opinion, like you were supposed to give their shit. You give your opinion, goofy. I give mine. You understand? And it's not, if somebody was out here, you know, talking a bunch of smack about Latinos and really dissing Latinos, you know, I don't want to watch that burrito eating SOB or all that, you know, if they were saying stuff like that, that's different. But I didn't see any of that. People were just saying that they didn't appreciate the fact that he was speaking Spanish. I think that it's a bit disrespectful, quite honestly, to the audience. You know that the audience speaks English predominantly, and you're doing a whole show in Spanish, not even with subtitles. I thought that was a bit disrespectful, and that's okay. That doesn't mean I have anything against Latinos or their culture. It's the most ridiculous thing I've heard in a while. And people were making these type of ridiculous stretches. Now, I want you to hear this Sambo. He's going to follow up, and then y'all jump in after him because he kind of piggybacked on this. And this is a black person talking this nonsense. Listen to this.
Really disappointed in black people's response to the Super Bowl. And I'm so disappointed at how black people are responding, given that we needed moments like those. We understand what needing a moment and having a moment feels like. So when another minority community has a moment, why are we not celebrating that? Why would we not celebrate another minority community having a moment? It just feels hella selfish. A lot of you guys' perspective on the world is this small. You don't realize it's 20,000 different perspectives around you. The Super Bowl is not just for black people. We had Usher. We got Rihanna. We got Kendrick Lamar last year. And when Kendrick Lamar was doing all that symbolic stuff about America, you know what white people were saying? Oh, I don't understand that. That was just... And we was defending that. Because he was putting on. So, if anything, Black people should understand what it's like to have a moment. And for y'all to get up here and diss Bad Bunny and diss the whole Super Bowl because you don't know Spanish is fake to me. I feel like minority to minority, struggle to struggle, Hispanics and black people are very similar in a lot of ways. Not saying we're the same, not saying we went through the same things, but we're very similar. And it's just like y'all, like we creating this whole divide, like, oh, I don't understand that. That's like we're acting like white people.
I'm trying to give him grace, maybe say that he's young and he just don't know shit. He don't know his ass from a hole in the ground. He's trying to be this expert on race and you know, racial nuances and culture and all this old shit. We're acting like white people. First of all, nobody had an issue with white people that said they didn't like Kendrick Lamar's show or they didn't understand it. Actually, we kind of expected that. It was the white people that was running around talking about, you know, they're tired of monkeys performing at the halftime show and all that type of stuff. You know, that was the white people we had a problem with because they did take it there to a racialized type of disrespect. But if you didn't like the show, you didn't like the damn show. I'm so tired of people running around trying to be goddamn opinion police. Bitch, we didn't like it. And what? Do something. You understand? Like, what is this little yellow ass nigga? What is he talking about? This little waffle colored Negro, is he even black? I don't even know. I mean, dude, little low budget Timu Drake talking shit. Dude, sit your ass down.
I believe Charlemagne put a trademark stamp on that right there. That would definitely be your definition of beige rage.
Oh my God.
Hashtag beige rage.
Dude, he just sounds dumb as hell. And I left a comment for him. I didn't get on him too tough because he's young and you know, he don't even wipe. I bet he don't even wipe his ass good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have no interest in trying to hear what children are telling me about race and culture and those type of nuances. But at the end of the day, black people that were mad about what racist white people were saying about Kendrick and about other people, they were mad at the racial aspect. But if you don't understand what somebody's saying, bitch, we don't understand what he's saying. And that's okay. I cannot like something if, first of all, I'm in my country. This is my sport. This is my goddamn halftime show. Foundational Black Americans started the damn Super Bowl halftime show as we know it today. It started with In Living Color. Okay? In Living Color was the first halftime show that was big like that, and it blew up after that. And the year after that, they got Michael Jackson. The rest is history. We've been doing this. We know how it's supposed to look. You understand? And it wasn't impressive. I'm not going to say it was whack, but I just didn't enjoy it. I never dissed Bad Bunny. Most black folks ain't diss him. They just didn't like it. And mostly because we couldn't understand it. And that makes logical sense. But these people all emotional, talking all this, oh, it's my culture, my culture. Okay, cool, that's fine. But we just didn't get it. And that's okay. What do y'all think, man? It drove me crazy to hear him talk like that.
Well, I made a post about it. I said that the performance was lackluster. When
it was.
People got to understand, real people that understand real music, that go to concerts, that observe how performers perform, are supposed to perform, you know that was a lackluster performance.
Yeah.
Compared to Kendrick Lamar, that was a lackluster performance. Compared to Usher, that was a lackluster performance. Compared to Michael Jackson, it was a lackluster performance. People want to gravitate by feeling how you feel. It don't matter about what you're saying, whether it was English or Spanish.
Right.
If people don't understand it in Spanish, they can feel it by the way you perform the shit. Like you can have a garbage song, but if you perform it good, you'll have people at least nodding their head every now and then. You know what I'm saying? The performance is what it is. When we grew up like Busta Rhymes, you know, I use Busta Rhymes for example because when you go to the Busta Rhymes concert, people was hyped. They weren't really hyped more on Busta Rhymes. They were hyped more on the duo between Spliff Star and Busta. The interaction of getting the crowd hyped with Spliff Star. That's what real performance was, the way they interacted, going back and forth with the lyrics. That's what performance was about. So I think a lot of people that had disdain for the performance part was probably looking at it from that aspect.
Okay.
But another thing that I thought that the cultural part was okay. It was good. Nobody sat back and demonized the cultural part, because just like he did the cultural part and Kendrick did his cultural part, we understood the cultural part. You know what I'm saying? Despite me being part Spanish, I appreciate the cultural part. The dominoes, yeah, that's an island thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I had made multiple posts trying to educate people, because he was trying to show the pipeline of Hispanics throughout the Caribbean countries. And I broke that kind of broke it down. I didn't really go into details about it, but I broke it down, and a lot of people appreciate the information, because guess what?
Yeah.
A lot of people did not know the information, and that's the problem. That's why you have this little baby coon, this baby raccoon is out here talking the talk he's talking, because he is not provided with the information to make him understand the perspective of why people are pushing back on it.
Right.
So if he was taught that in the 1970s, when Jim Crow era was still around, when Black people were still demonized by the dominant white society, then they added in the Asians and Hispanics.
Yeah.
The Hispanics was thrown under the Blacks. That's where the whole black and brown, quote unquote, black and brown unity was supposed to be transpired from.
Right.
Cool, right? So you say, okay, cool. Back then, you know, when you look at Fred Hampton and all of them, they fought for the black and brown people, the po people is what they call it, right? So then after a while in the 70s, the Hispanics said, I don't want to be under no fucking Negro. Are you, did your parents tell you that shit?
How about that?
I know black.
Yeah.
I know black.
You know black guy.
I know black.
Yeah.
They do that all the time.
When you talk about cultural, is your parents telling you that? Are you reading the information about that? When you sit back in here and fought for these people to come over here, and then they say, oh, I don't want to be there. You know what I told somebody? I told somebody this remind me of, if you guys remember Revenge of the Nerds, y'all remember the Revenge of the Nerds? I think it was the second one. The one where they was council. They had they were council seat representatives, and they had to vote on stuff. And remember when they had bagged them all up on the boat and threw them on the island. I think it was that whole Cuban island thing they were talking about. And then they found the little tank, and they had went back and got back in time to do the vote and tell people what happened. Y'all remember that scene?
Okay.
Not really.
No.
It's been a minute.
All right.
For
So
me.
what the details of that scene was, Ogre. You remember Ogre was the big jock that was beating on him from Beta, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Ogre was on the boat, and they when they threw the nerds over, they threw Ogre over, because Ogre was telling them what they were going to do, and they were like, oh, we can't have that. So they threw him over too as collateral damage.
Okay.
So when they threw Ogre over, he's this big jock that can't swim. So now Ogre's like, oh, I'm drowning. So Wormsworth, about my size, the nerd of the nerds, he was like the computer geek. He saw Ogre was drowning. He know how to swim. So he went out there and he saved Ogre. Now, mind you, this is a guy that's been bullying them since they've been there. And he had compassion and empathy to go out there and say, you know what, you've been bullying me, but I don't want to see you die. I don't want to see you do that.
Right,
so he went out there and he grabbed him and he pulled him back to shore. When he got close enough where Ogre was able to stand up and walk to the island, he pushed Wormsworth off of him and says, okay, now you don't need me no more. I done saved you. He was like, Wormsworth was like, nigga, I saved you.
Yeah.
So that's the same feeling that I feel like when we rescue somebody and when they got their feet underneath them, they push us away as if we didn't help them out. And that's the attitude that we're getting from the people of that culture. So when you sit back and see all of this and you see the reaction, after a while, when somebody gets treated a certain way for a long time, they have a disdain because they were nice to you. And now you're the one who created this energy. You can't be mad at the people that you created the energy with. That doesn't make sense. So these are the educational points that they're not teaching these young little baby raccoons. Because to be honest with you, a lot of these baby raccoons that you're seeing that's talking like this, they're mixed. And when they're mixed, this is why Frances Cress Welsing will always go down as one of the powerful queens we ever had. She told you, when you play with sex, the joke is on the child.
Rewind. Say it again. Say it again. Say it again.
Facts. When you play with sex, the joke is on the offspring. Facts. Damn. That's heavy. That's heavy. Okay. Okay. Well said, brother. Bobby Drake, what you got, man?
Man, I might have to step away for about 5 minutes, man. I gotta go. I need to go whip me up a nice saline solution right quick, because I'm convinced. Listen, that gave me pink eye. I don't know if you can kind of see that. It's looking a little bloodshot, but I definitely picked up an infection off of that nonsense.
Oh man.
Lord, just
this
and like you said, I'm definitely, when I heard that, you know, I really wanted to slap him across the back of his head, but Buddy definitely put me in that Ving Rhames, Melvin, baby boy headspace. Like, oh, youngster.
Yeah.
Like,
he's a child.
Still baby. You still wet behind the ears.
He don't know shit.
Bless your heart. It sounds like, unfortunately, he really dwells in those Shea Butter Twitter space or Shea Butter X spaces where he listens to everything that the Rot, the G.A.U.G.E, Mr. Noir, and all those little tetherized, butt dancing, demon crap, dummy crap bootleg sites. It sounds like he's fed on a steady diet of that, because that's their talking points. I don't even think he really gets that too much in his own household, but I think his household probably is linked up with all the typical DNC nonsense, and so anything that's considered in that space is fair game and fair fodder for him, and that's problematic because, like you see, this is what it looks. This is a perfect case study. When you feed someone on a diet of junk food and put them out here, you can see if they eaten crap the whole lives, you see them with the big old pot belly, the clothes that don't fit, or the clothes that's way too large and everything. You can tell they ain't feeding that child right at home. Right. The child don't be outside getting exercise because they got all that weight, pudgy, juvenile obese and everything. You can tell by the way they present themselves, the way they look, the way they perform, that this child is not eating properly and is not taking proper physical education into this repertoire. Same thing here. Yeah. I can listen to what this child and how he's talking, and he doesn't sound, minus the subject matter, the kid doesn't sound stupid. Right. He sounds pretty smart. I wouldn't say a genius, but he sounds pretty smart. At least he's above average in school. He sounds that way. Yeah. He comports himself well. You know, it's a camera, but he's speaking well. He's not stumbling and fumbling over his words. So he sounds like a confident, put-together young man. The problem is, he's just been fed a diet of corn dog bullshit. He don't know shit. You know his ass from a hole in the ground. Now, if you would have sit him down and give him some books, I'm pretty sure he's a solid reader. If you would have put him down and give him some books from Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, give him some books from Neely Fuller, give him some books from Amos Wilson. I don't think that's too heavy for someone of his age. Give him some proper spiritual books. Right. Story of the Boy Out of Spain. Put some solid actual wisdom in his hand. Yeah. I guarantee you in about 8 weeks, you're going to get a whole entire different young man. Right. Right. So we're talking again about choices that you're making. If anything, for me, I would say that in this example, this isn't the case of the choice that he's making. I say this is a result of the choices of his family. You're not putting your child in the space to probably get adequate learning. And so they're learning a whole bunch of BS. And if he's fortunate, when he gets of age, he's going to come into the realization, hey, this nonsense I've been thinking and saying, this ain't adding up. And he's going to have to go through a whole re-education process, which a lot of us have had to do. And it sucks that I would say that probably I've gotten a better quality education in terms of the world around me outside of school than I have when I was in there. Really quick segue on this. One of my homegirls, shout out to Jelly and my boy Riddell. But they recently just learned they're going to bring another beautiful child in the world. They have a daughter right now who she's an absolute genius. She's a delight. She's like 3 years old and she's smart as a whip. And she expressed, her mom expressed, excuse me, recently that she's having an issue where her daughter has already reached the point where she's able to pick up on discrimination and colorism and white supremacy. She said that her daughter, she's homeschooling a child, and so they do like a lot of play dates. They go out in parks for recreation and everything. And she said her daughter, she didn't front load the child with nothing, but the daughter has already picked up on and said, how is it that the children that look like me play with me, but the children that don't look like me, they're mean and isolate me. And then she tried to play it off like, well, no, that's not what's going on, sweetie. She said, no, mama, I see them doing it to you too.
Wow.
So she picks up on the non-black adults treating their mother some kind of way. But the black adults are in lockstep with her. And she was like, I don't know what to do. I don't want to have this conversation with my baby too early. What do I do? And I told her, look, hey, in a situation like this, the best way out is through. If the child is already smart enough, and she's smart in other ways as well too, I'm saying, look, your child is ready for the conversation when they showed they're observing and picking up the signs. And I told her, what you don't want to do, you have a brilliant young black child. You don't want to go ahead and try to chip away at her observation skills and her awareness and say, no, what you're seeing is wrong, because now you're going to cause her to doubt herself. This is the time to go ahead and teach your child about racism and white supremacy early. I know you don't want to do it too early, but if she's aware of it, you have to trust her and give it to her in that space.
Yeah, I agree.
So I told her, you need to front load your child now because you don't want your child to be like this dummy, loud or wrong on the internet, looking like, oh, bless your heart, you an easy target, huh?
Yeah.
We want to avoid that. So this is for the parents. Make sure that you are properly gaming up your child. Stop trying to do the whole Santa Claus tooth fairy thing. I want my baby to remain innocent. No.
Nah.
White supremacy believes in gunning for the children. Children aren't sacred to them.
Sure ain't.
You need to make sure your children are aware and are cognizant so that they can speak with power and authority instead of, but I dance, so mess up. Because that's horrible.
Facts.
That's horrible.
This is where we are, though. And just real quick, because I know no one said it, I just want to go ahead and put it out there. We have to understand agenda-based programming. This whole thing, it doesn't even make sense that you would put someone who's a non-English speaking act up at the Super Bowl if you didn't have an agenda to promote. This is some type of liberal, bullshit jab at Trump, and we getting caught in the middle of it. And, it's all this cultural war bullshit. That has nothing to do with anything.
Always jacking our labor and manpower. Always.
Yeah.
It never comes back to us. It's never reciprocal, but it's always, and this is where, again, when we talk about racism, white supremacy, people don't understand. They think that the racism is just, the Republicans with they want us back in chains. You have to understand white supremacy on all sides of the spectrum believes in the mistreatment and neglect of non-black people, but especially non-white people, but especially black people. But if you notice, and here's the key thing, all sides, it doesn't matter if they're white, it doesn't matter if they're black tethers, it doesn't matter if they are non-white, non-black entities, they all have the same shared mindset about putting the black people, especially the foundational black Americans, to work. You work for me. How dare you resist not being of use and labor to me? You are an unhired labor force, yes? You have all free time to work for me and push my agenda. Do my bidding. They all sound the same when you look at it, and the reciprocity doesn't exist. So that's the yardstick that you got to use, because otherwise you're going to fall into the whole, well, it's the right, it's the conservatives, it's the Republicans that are bad, no. When you look at it from the perspective of manipulation and exploitation for labor, that's when you see they're all on the same page about us.
And that's why I had, real quick, that's why I had to go grab this book, The Moors After Spain and The Moors Before Spain.
Okay.
If you are a black person, and even Spanish people, I always recommend this book. This is the history of how Hispanics came how they came about. The Moors went into Spain, mixed with the Europeans, and that's how the Hispanic race came about.
Who's the
This
author
is your
of those
history.
books?
This is your history, and people don't understand it. And then when you are a Hispanic person talking like Black people are turning their backs on you, always remember, when you are in the system itself, you're classified as white. Remember, Hispanic is not a race. So
Right.
you took the identity of being labeled white opposed to being labeled brown or Black, right? So you get the resources of the white man, but that's why you start to look down on the Black person. And then when you want some of our resources, you sit back and say, we in this together. No, it don't work like that. And you're doing the same job that they're doing, is just in a different form, in a different cultural way. So if you got to understand that part of it, to not be part of the problem and also be part of the solution. Remember, education destroys ignorance.
And who's the author of those books?
The author is Stanley Lane Poe.
Manversations 2020.